private stock exchange in East Africa. OTEX, with a dial of just *292#. They bring you bonds and treasury bills from across East Africa. We're talking about Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, name it. If you own a bond, you can sell. If you want to access one, you can buy. Use OTEX East Africa and you will not regret. They are doing this, of course, in conjunction with MTN Mobile Money, that is MTN Momo, and you can deposit money straight from your Momo account onto OTEX, so you can be able to be part of the whole lot of investors across East Africa that are investing in the debt instruments. The markets open at 8:15 p.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. OTEX East Africa doing something new. And now, of course, let's cross now. Before we go to Nairobi, I just wanted to talk about Umeme a little bit here. Umeme has lots of good things, and following, of course, reports from the Capital Markets Authority, which, of course, concur with reports from the Uganda Securities Exchange, Umeme has been the company with the biggest turnover, both in the first quarter and in the second quarter of 2022. And when you look at Umeme's stock, of course, it is a company dealing in the supply and distribution of electricity in Uganda, all right? And Umeme's stock has been one of the very stable stocks, and one that has also been able to gain in terms of year to date, and also be able to remain very active on the stock market recently. And of course, as we close the third quarter of the year, we are also seeing intensified activity around Umeme. We don't know exactly why, but one reason we can say that, of course, justified the performance for the company just a few months ago was their declaration of a dividend of over 54.9 Ugandan shillings this year for every share that his shareholder is holding with the company, which is quite attractive for many investors. Another thing we have also is the fact that the company has a multitude of foreign investments. There are many foreign investors interested in the company for reasons well known to them, but also for the fact that this is a company dealing in a sector that is very sensitive. We can live probably without certain things, but it's quite hard in our generation to live without electricity. So because it is a utility-based company distributing and supplying electricity, which is very vital for the growth of the economy. And of course, Uganda is well known for being one of the leading generators of electricity with new dams coming in every now and then. We have Karuma now, Bujagari, and so many others. So there is a lot of work Umeme really does here in Uganda when it comes to the distribution and supply of electricity. So that probably explains why many people are interested in this particular stock. Not only here in Uganda, but even when you look at this company, because it's listed also, is cross-listed rather, also on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, it still has a competitive edge over many other companies, because we know in Kenya we still have Kenya Power and Lighting Company, but still Umeme is a very close competitor of the same. So this is a stock for you who wants an active market, for you who wants a gain, at least in terms of a dividend. Definitely you should look out for Umeme. The company has been listed on the Uganda Stock Exchange since 2012, and it has a total market capitalization of close to about 325 billion, which represents 1.25% of the 21.4 trillion Ugandan shillings market capitalization of the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, the company is also the 10th most valuable out of the 18 listed companies in terms of market value. And yesterday they had the biggest volume of over about 1.29 million shares. These shares are valued at very close to 258 million shillings yesterday. When you look at their shares outstanding, they have about 1.62 billion shares that are currently listed or that are currently floated on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And these are valued at 325 billion, which is their market capitalization. Now, Uganda Securities Exchange at the beginning of the year had the opening price for Umeme as exactly 189 shillings. So far, the company has gained 5.82%, close to 6% on their price value since the beginning of the year, ranking it the third in terms of year-to-date performance. So meaning in terms of year-to-date, we can give that to them as well as being one of the most companies that have improved most, at least with time in the year. When you look at the volumes here, the volumes, not the turnover, the volumes, the length of the amount of shares that we are looking at within the last 3 months, the company has sold out over 13.6 million shares, and these are valued at over 2.71 billion shillings. And we're seeing that it is the fourth most traded on stock within the last 3 months. That is from the 24th of June to yesterday's data that was on 22nd of September rather. And the company has had a volume high of about 8.13 million, which was achieved on the 23rd of August. That is also quite important to take note of. Recently, we have seen the company intensify activity with yesterday's 1.2 million shares. And then on the 21st of September, they had about 205,000. They had about 1,020. So their volumes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We don't know what could be the reason. And this is something I always want you to be able to scrutinize and now become as a seasoned investor, because I believe people who watch this show should be seasoned investors by now. As a seasoned investor, you should always question such things. What is happening to Umeme? How come it trades 1,000 shares on one day, on the second day it has over 200,000, and on the third day they have 1.2 million shares, and their price is constant? That's a question I'm leaving to you, because no one makes a decision for you on the stock market. And of course, one time I will invite experts to talk about how to pick a share and so on. But these are some of the things you actually choose to justify why you picked a certain share. With this kind of activity, there must be something at Umeme. Trust me, there must be something. And usually these people doing it know, and of course they will not let you know because you maybe will never meet them. But I'm telling you, improving 3 days in a row, having an appreciation, you're seeing close to the same amount. 1,000 shares, 200,000, and now 1.2 million. What could be the reason behind that? And which is even more important, the price is remaining the same. So meaning the demand for the stock and the supply are almost balanced. How come? You must question this. And this is the way you will actually get to become one of the most ardent investors within the stock markets, especially here in Uganda. So I leave Umeme there for you, but check out Umeme today if you're buying shares. And also, if you are looking at the long-term gain, you can also look out for Umeme. They're doing very well so far. And of course, we await the reports for the third quarter, and we will see how this particular stock goes in the next quarter, which is the last quarter of the year. Now, let's have a look at Uganda Clays as well. Now, yesterday also Uganda Clays was among some of the top movers with the 1.04 million shares that was actually traded. This is the oldest listing on the Uganda Stock Exchange, listed in the year 2000, and with a market capitalization of close to 13.5 billion, representing 0.063% of the entire market capitalization of the Uganda Stock Exchange. Now, the company uses ticker symbol UCL on the Uganda Stock Exchange, and in terms of year-to-date performance, very significantly, there is the number one company in terms of year-to-date performance, having gained close to over about, it has gained so far about 15% on its year-to-date price. Yeah, and so investors, however, they should take caution because the company has registered some poor performance recently after having lost about 16% of its value in the last 4 weeks. However, in terms of traded volumes, it is the 4th most traded on stock at the moment, with over 5.72 million shares that were sold out in the period ended 22nd September from June the 24th. Now, if you're buying stock, you must look at sector, you must look at company, you must look at comparing with fellows in the same sector. Yeah, Uganda Clays is a dealer in clay products, and there is no other company on the stock exchange that deals in the same product. So if you are interested in clay products, you have no choice. You have to invest in this company. But you must be also looking at the angle of the previous performance. When you look at the previous performance, yes, the company is doing good in terms of year-to-date, gaining over 15%. But, and this is a huge but, recently the company has lost 16% from prices of about 17, 18, 20 to currently average prices of about 15 shillings, 15.0, matter of fact. So if you're choosing this particular stock, you must be a long-term investor. I'm telling you, don't think you're going to come in there and just come out with a profit all of a sudden, all right? But we're seeing that yesterday there was a top, this company was one of the top movers after having traded about 1.04 million shares. Now, moving on to, I think that's it for Uganda. You can buy shares in Uganda Stock Exchange by opening yourself an SCD account via a stockbroker or via the platforms I've already mentioned on the show before. That is dialing *165 *57 hash using your MTN, and definitely you will be able to open that account. Or you can visit the website of the Uganda Securities Exchange, look for Easy Portal, and then get to put in your details, your national identity card, and the rest is history. Or you can visit a stockbroker at their offices, or you can give them a call. There are quite several of them that are licensed by Capital Markets Authority, and they will still be able to get you some stock. But regardless, buy some stock today. Please make sure you make it a point to close this week with a stock, at least one or two from one of these companies, and you will tell me later how you actually get to enjoy your life. Now let's go to Nairobi very quickly. Here, Nairobi Stock Exchange is the principal stock exchange for Kenya, our neighbors here, and it's the biggest stock exchange after all in East Africa. It has 65 listed companies at the moment, though it offers other securities such as derivatives. They have options, they have treasury bills and bonds, the debt instruments, and so many others. So it is a very diversified market with ETFs and many other things that you can actually look out for on Nairobi Stock Exchange. Now, at the moment, Nairobi is going crazy after, of course, a loss due to the elections and the uncertainty that was surrounding companies during the election, foreign investors, floating the expensive debt instruments in the United States. We're seeing that some activity is returning to the markets. There is fire that is burning within Nairobi Stock Exchange at the moment, and this is signified by yesterday's performance, where over 50 companies, we're talking about 50 companies participated in trading out of the 65 companies, and the day ended with over 21 gainers and 22 losers. Now, BK Group, that is Bank of Kigali, led the gainers at a 9.86% share price appreciation, closing at 30.65 Kenyan shillings. It was followed by another bank, that is Standard Group Holdings, at a 9.61% gain. Total Kenya, which has also recently gained fame on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, gained about 7.87% on its stock there in Nairobi. And when you look at Express Kenya, they also gained about 7.03% on the stock price there. Those were some of the top gainers, but there were 21 of them. That is crazy. I think Nairobi is going straight out of the roof. Just about since Monday, I think the all-share index has been on a green curve, and so we're seeing a lot of hope in Nairobi there. On the losing side, however, NMG, Nation Media Group, lost about 3.91%, which was the very worst for the Nairobi Stock Exchange yesterday, closing at 17.2 Kenyan shillings. Unga Group was another loser at a 3.23%. And Umeme lost here by about 3.12%, whereas Sanlam Kenya lost about 2.88%. Those are some of the companies that lost on the stock market. Now, you're seeing Unga here at a 3.23% loss. Now, a few weeks back, about 1 week and a half ago, Unga was one of the companies also going crazy on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, but we see them coming back down. And this is always what happens with small companies. Because of the diversification of the market, of course, we are seeing that the Nairobi Stock Exchange has the blue chip, that's the bigger companies with big equity shares. It also has the smaller companies that provide opportunity for new investors. Yeah. However, there's a problem with the smaller companies. The smaller companies always give crazy profit when it comes. It's crazy. They go up and above the roof. Okay, they do extremely well when they're to do well. But if it comes to the bad side, they still do the same. But in the opposite way. So they decline significantly. So that is also something as an investor watching financial markets you should take note of. Diversify. This is what Mr. Biarugawa Richard of NSSF preaches. This is what Mr. Keith Kalijira of the Capital Markets Authority preaches. Diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Put some money in big companies, the blue chip. Yes, good, because those are a little bit safer. Yes, a little bit. And then when you look at the medium companies, you also put some money in there. And then the smaller companies also put some money there because they have a lot of hope for growth. But don't dare put all your eggs in one basket, in one single company, just because you saw the company doing very well on a single day of trading. So that is some precaution that we should take as investors and get to enjoy our investment. Now, regarding the overall performance, the benchmark index inched up by 0.21 points, and that was a 0.16% appreciation, closing at 134.96 points, representing a 1 week gain of about 0.58% and about a 4 week loss of 3.98%, and an overall year-to-date loss of about 18.92%. Still a journey to go to recover the performance at the beginning of the year, but at least the stock market is moving. Now, regarding other remarkable indices, unlike the NSE 25, the NSE 20, which monitors the performance of the top 20 companies in as far as market capitalization is concerned, declined by about 0.06%, and that is on a daily basis. While on the NSE 25, we had an appreciation of about 0.06% on the other hand. And that is giving us a picture of what's happening in Nairobi at the moment. Now, in total, we had about 17,401,800 shares on the Nairobi Stock Exchange being traded in about 1,098 deals, corresponding to a market value of over 496 million Kenyan shillings. Now, that's a huge turnover there. And we're seeing that the data shows a 42% improvement in the volumes, a 46% improvement in the turnover, and a 21% improvement in the deals. Everything looks to be improving there in Nairobi. So what are you waiting for, my friend? Get yourself some stock in Nairobi as well. If you feel like Uganda is not big enough, yes, expand your wings and explore, and at least get some stock in Kenya. Now, the market capitalization of Nairobi is currently standing at over 2.1 trillion Ugandan shillings. Oh, sorry, it's Kenyan shillings rather. 2.1 trillion Kenyan shillings. And this is currently what we have on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. There are stockbrokers here in Uganda. If you make good research, that will help you buy stock in Kenya without you moving to Kenya. Or you can actually invite those in Kenya online, but that's a little bit risky and could involve some kind of cost. But you can approach some here who can actually link you to the Nairobi Stock Exchange and get you to buy some stock over there. Thank you very much for watching SMART24 TV, where we drive your business. And this is Financial Markets. This show is proudly brought to you by Altex East Africa. Altex East Africa is, of course, the #1 private exchange in East Africa, offering you services like buying and selling treasury bonds across East Africa. You can now dial *292# if you're an MTN subscriber under the Zabu initiative, and you will be able to access these instruments. They are 4-year instruments, 5-year, 10 years. You only need a minimum amount of close to 15,000 to be able to buy or sell. That's all you need. And you can transfer this money off your MTN mobile money and to the exchange there at Altex. Altex East Africa is regulated by the Capital Markets Authority and, of course, licensed to carry out this trade. Their markets open at exactly 8:15 a.m. to 3:15 p.m. weekdays. Altex East Africa under the Zabu initiative are saying do something new. And, of course, that is bringing you Financial Markets as well. Thank you very much for being a wonderful viewer. It's been a good week, and we hope to see you next week. We're going to just have a look now later on at an interview I had with Mr. Chimuli on treasury bonds. Many of you don't understand this concept, and we thought we'd bring this back for you to get to understand better how the debt instruments work. My name is Anthony. I'll catch you next week. Goodbye for now.